Before we get into this video, please make sure that you're subscribed to my YouTube channel. I know that now 58% of the people that regularly watch my content are not subscribed. I'm looking at y'all, and I'm judging. I know. And also my second channel is linked down below. New videos every single day over there. And also the private Facebook Muckers group is down below where you can get involved in the community. I ask questions about the content I make and then shout you out in the videos. Go down there, go request, and I will see you in a couple seconds when the video begins. Hi Muckers, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you're all having the best day ever. Thank you so much for clicking on my video and on my channel today. If you're noticing a little bit of a different setup right now, it is because the past few days I have been busy moving all of my stuff back to my hometown of Derry, my little humble hometown here in Ireland. I'm not moving here permanently, but me and the animals have moved from Brighton to Derry just for the next few months for Christmas, so that I can be here with my family for Christmas and that the dogs and cats have like a stable setup. So I'm going to be flying back and forth between Derry and Brighton. So there's going to be a lot of different backgrounds in my videos for the next few months. And also if you're on my second channel, it's going to be crazy over there with new content. So go down, subscribe, join. Also, the Facebook group is down there. But today's video, also, how cute is this? Doesn't this look like my little dolly when she was a puppy? Anyway, today's video is the finale of the Shane Dawson and Jeffree Star series, which we have been covering. So this is the new series, and this episode is called The End of Jeffree Star and Shane Dawson. Now, if you have been watching this series, you will be aware that I have talked about the fact that the first two episodes, in my opinion, have sucked ass. Like, they have not been good at all. And the reason that I genuinely believe that, I'm going to be honest, is because it has been a lot of building up hype for no substance. The first two episodes have relied on a to be continued, and nothing has happened for, retrospectively, each hour in each episode. So I said at the end of my previous video, which was for part 2, that I was like, there's a lot to live up to here with episode 3. And I said that I was going to be honest whether I think it lived up to the hype, because there's so much ground to cover that they have teased at or hinted at before the series even came out, but also just in the first 2 episodes. And I'm going to be honest, I have to give props where credit is due, and this is how you know that I'm not biased. As much as you Shane Dawson little fans and Jeffree Star little fans don't want to believe it, I'm going to say that episode 3, in my opinion, was done probably to the best quality that we've ever seen in any Shane Dawson documentary, which we know is just a fucking long-form vlog. But I'm going to be nice here. I'm going to give props. I think that Shane and Chris is the filmer and the editor, have probably created one of the best videos that's on Shane's channel. I feel that everything I wanted to get answered in the first 2 episodes, so I didn't have to waste 2 hours of my life, but anything I wanted answered in those first 2 episodes, I feel got answered in this last one. So my positive is I feel that we finally got there, and we were finally told what we were told we were gonna get. I feel that it ended, you know, in an alright way. I feel that the editing was fluid throughout. It wasn't too intense. I think that it was a consistent video. I think that enough happened within the video that it didn't feel like it was dragging out. Whereas I think that the first 2 episodes were god-awful. I think that they were genuinely boring and had no substance, and I didn't enjoy the editing in them. I can say that, and I also believe that this 3rd episode was definitely the best in the series, but I would argue one of the best episodes that Shane and Jeffree have, vlogs that Shane and Jeffree have ever made together. And the reason for that is because I think that they did a good job at covering a lot of bases and not diving too deep into one and then neglecting another, kind of covering, you know, the basis of everything. So we're going to jump into it. But again, listen, I'm willing to give credit where credit is due, and that is me for this one. So again, there's points in this that I don't like, but I'm gonna say out of the 3 episodes, I do believe that they ended it in quite possibly the best way they could have. But I'm just gonna be honest, there was no need for this to be 3 episodes, please. This could have been one long video. Actually, I would argue that the first 2 videos were not needed in any way. I know that they were uploaded so Shane would make maximum profit, but I genuinely believe that if they had just uploaded this last video, it would have made more impact, and it would have showed Shane up for creating, like, repetitive content for the past 5 years. It wouldn't have shown him in that light, and it actually would have shown him, in my opinion, in a different kind of, look where Shane and Jeffree are now, because that's what came across within this episode. So, The video begins with another sponsor, so I don't want to hear about them being cancelled and brands not working with them. Let's get that argument out of the way. These 3 episodes have been sponsored. Do I see a problem with that? He's a YouTuber and they're going to get sponsored, but I don't appreciate the argument then from fans being like, drama channels and media and journalists have like killed his career and no one wants to work with him again. Then why have the 3 episodes been sponsored? If you believe that he's cancelled, that's just because people aren't watching anymore. Like, it has nothing to do... There's no one in YouTube that has been, like, properly successfully cancelled. There probably has been. But, like, cancel culture for these big contenders never works. David Dobrik, James Charles, Shane Dawson, Jeffree Star, they all just come back and there's never any repercussions from the platforms or the fans or the general public, or maybe for, like, 5 months. So, I don't want to hear the argument that they've lost everything. They've lost everything. Shut up. So the video begins on February 24th, 2020, with Shane and Jeffree planning the second palette, and then it skips to 2.5 years in the future. So we have learned that the palette was not going to be called the cancelled palette. It was actually going to be called the Doomsday palette, which is unfortunately very ironic for a palette that was being created in 2019 to be released in 2020, considering the pandemic happened in 2020. Now, credit, this was not created when the pandemic was happening. It was created before the pandemic. So it's like, it would have been awful timing. You know the way Jeffree came out with the cremated palette during the pandemic and it was incredibly insensitive? I feel that coming out with a Doomsday palette would be even fucking worse. So, for better or for worse, it was probably great that they didn't publish this. So Shane and Ryland are now sitting in their bed. Shane says that he's incredibly sad that Jeffree is being so negative about YouTube. And then it cuts to clips of Jeffree saying that YouTube sucks. So remember the confrontational moment from the episode 2 where Jeffree's like, YouTube sucks and nobody's watching anymore. So we've now cut to that moment again. And we're basically hearing from Jeffree that nobody's watching YouTube anymore. YouTube's irrelevant. It's not worth it. And a quote from Jeffree says, it's not about being cancelled because we're not irrelevant. Nobody gets views anymore. Nobody watches my videos because no one cares about YouTube. Now, I just can't believe, and here's where a lot of my criticism is, I just can't believe that, like, I'm actually hearing a YouTuber be like, YouTube as a platform is dead because nobody's watching my videos. It's like, are we hearing that you're literally saying that because you're not pulling views anymore, or you're not pulling millions of views anymore, or you're not at your peak anymore, that you genuinely believe that YouTube as a platform is over? Like, how egotistical do you have to be to think that way? Because I don't think any other YouTuber would get away with saying this, but Jeffree says it and people are like, that's so Jeffree, and I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. So Jeffree says that he's been made the villain on YouTube, and he refers to that guy who, I don't know who he's talking about here. He says, the guy who made a video calling him out for lying and saying that everything he's done has been a lie, he turned Jeffree's drama into the biggest thing ever. Now, the only person I can think about who made a video about Jeffree that Jeffree would be alluding to would be D'Angelo Wallace. Now, I'm not putting that down as that is confirmed, because I do not know if he's talking about D'Angelo Wallace, but it kind of makes sense that he's talking about D'Angelo, because D'Angelo's videos on Shane and Jeffree. Fuck me. D'Angelo Wallace did like a double knockout with the Shane and Jeffree videos, and then the Taddy Westbrook one. Sheesh. But anyway, I think he's talking about D'Angelo here. I don't know. He says that that guy turned him into the villain and was talking about things from scandals to that Jeffree was lying about not drinking, and Jeffree doesn't want to be on a platform where people like that are out to get him and hate him. So again, I think he's talking about D'Angelo Wallace here. Now, D'Angelo Wallace's videos, I would love to go back and rewatch them because those things were incredibly made, and so much research. So, Jeffree says that nobody is enjoying long-form content anymore, which is actually the opposite. Because we have TikTok succeeding because of short videos, but long-form content is so popular still on YouTube and Netflix and stuff like this, that TikTok, who Jeffree's using as an example that long-form content is dead, have literally extended it that you can post like minute-long videos now. So even the short-form platforms are now catering towards long-form content. So it literally just is like Jeffree doing like mental gymnastics to just not say that he is not relevant anymore. And now again, I'm not saying that to be rude to Jeffree, because I've said that if Jeffree Star put in the effort in YouTube again, like he did in the past, he would probably be very successful again. Maybe not 30 million views a video successful, but he'd be pulling more than... I don't even know the percentage of if you have like 20 million subscribers and you're only pulling like 500k a video. That's a bad ratio, but he would be doing a shit ton better than that if he actually put effort in. But he's like mentally tuned off, so don't blame the platform, blame yourself, is just where I'm at with this. So, Shane says that he wants to throw up at the news of Jeffree quitting. How dramatic. And a quote from Shane, which I absolutely adore, is, "Well, what is YouTube without Jeffree Star?" And he's being dead honest when he says that, by the way. And then Shane Dawson says, basically things along the lines of, like, YouTube needs someone like Jeffree Star, which is actually something he was saying. So then Ryland, ironically, yes, Ryland has been here the entire time, by the way, he says, "It's admirable when people know to hang up the phone," which I just thought was so fucking bitchy. Like, Ryland said it as kind of like, you know, it's admirable when people know when to hang up the phone. But it just kind of caught me off guard that, like, Ryland was sitting in silence and then is basically being like, "Yeah, Jeffree, time's up." It caught me off guard a little bit. I enjoy shady Ryland. Shane says how he gets cancelled every 3 years and then he reinvents himself for another 3 years, and then he doesn't say cancelled, by the way. He goes, "When my career goes into like a little bit of a dive, then I'll reinvent myself, then I'll be loved for 3 years, then I'll go into another little bit of a dive." So, Shane, let's talk about what happens during those dives. Why do those dives happen? Do we want to discuss it? Because we can. So, that's Shane basically saying to Jeffree that, you know, I get popular every 3 years, so you'll get popular again. But I just don't think that, like, I would be so frustrated if I was talking to Jeffree and he was complaining about YouTube's dead, especially if I'm filming a YouTube video with him, whenever he's literally putting zero effort into his content and every video he's been making has been selling a palette or selling a mirror or selling a gloss or selling, you know, it's just like, oh my god. So then they meet up with Jeffree's ranch handler, the Glam Squad, and Jeffree's new social media manager. Now, the new social media manager, something very interesting, used to work at Morphe, and she was working at Morphe when the Conspiracy palette launched. So Shane makes a jab, basically saying that, "Were you still working at Morphe when they threw all the palettes out?" Which was actually, it caught me off guard he said that, and I appreciated the joke. And they basically ask about, like, the drama from, like, a worker's standpoint, like an employee's, whenever all the palettes were, like, thrown out and Shane and Jeffree were, like, shunned from Morphe. And she says that, personally, she was really sad whenever it happened. Jeffree opens up about the phone call that he got with him and his business manager from Morphe whenever they were basically being cut off. And it was that Morphe said they just don't know what to do with Jeffree anymore. And there was a lot of pressure on Morphe to kind of make a stand on where they were at with Jeffree, but specifically Shane and the Conspiracy palette was a big thing because it was when all the stuff about Shane was coming out. And Jeffree said that they basically just said on the phone that they were going to cut ties, and that was it. And then they hung up and that was the end of the call. So that was all he heard. So he's asking the employee, so his social media manager, who was the ex-Morphe worker, "What were you told?" And she basically said that one day they came into work and, you know, the billboards were down, the signs were down, and they were basically told to take all the Conspiracy palettes off the fucking shelf. Which, again, they weren't even told anything as well. So, now Shane is in the car with Maddie, who's, you know, the assistant. Now, this was one of my biggest things that really pissed me off about the Part 2 episode. And one of my biggest criticisms was that Shane says Maddie quit. Maddie did quit as being Jeffree's assistant, and it was like this big drama online, if you remember. Everyone was trying to wonder why, because Maddie's been with him his entire career, then she quits and she's shading him online, which is something that did happen. They didn't talk about this, but I'll give them, you know, credit where credit's due. Shane finally revisits it in this episode, because in the second one, he kind of just makes a joke about Maddie quitting, and then Jeffree passes it off and they don't talk about it, because Jeffree's like more dominant in the conversations. Finally, and thank God, Shane is sitting in the car with Maddie and brings it up again, and she talks about it. And whether or not she's telling the truth or the complete truth, because there was a lot of shady things going on in the background, listen, I'm just glad that someone is fucking talking about why she quit and why she came back, because we were told in part fucking 2 that we were gonna get told why. So she says that she went back to Houston as she just kind of needed a place where she hadn't been before, and she didn't know anybody, and she had such a hectic 3 years with Jeffree. They were way too intense, and she just needed a reset. She said her self-identity is very much so, you know, with Jeffree and with the brand, and it feels like home and family to her. Shane says that a lot of people were expecting that there was drama happening behind the scenes. And Shane says something that's interesting. He's like, I'm not going to play dumb. I know that there was a lot going on behind the scenes. But then he's like, but there was no drama happening. So he like says, you know, I'm not going to play dumb. I know things are being said behind the scenes. So he like hints at the fact there was drama, but then Maddie saves it, you know, like PR-ified. And it's like, there was no drama and all like that. Listen, I don't give a shit. I just kind of wanted them both to talk about it in some form because we were told it was going to happen. Maddie says it was personal family shit that she needed to sort out, and she felt that she also didn't need to give anybody a reason on when she left, which is a valid point as well. Shane asked Maddie how she acted during, you know, all the controversies, not even just the one with Shane, but just in general with all of them, or if there was a scandal that happened. She said she was just so mainly focused on business with Jeffree, and there was so much happening that, like, she never really had a time, you know, to sit down and be like, oh, let's think about Jeffree getting cancelled. She was like, it was go, 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 go. And she says that she internalized a lot of it because at the end of the day, she was internalizing a lot of the fear and anger of Jeffree because she was basically living with him, literally living with him. But she had a job to do at the end of the day, so she wasn't allowed to, like, dwell on her emotions, which I also understand why she was saying that. Alright, so we're going to get to this timestamp. So this is when they actually are in the car talking. And I wanted to show you this because, again, this was a moment that a lot of you were wanting to hear as well. So we're finally getting to it right now. So it's from 12 minutes to 16 minutes. All right, here we go. So we have Shane and Maddie finally addressing why Maddie left. Now, again, I believe there's a lot more to this. Just, like, I need to go back and watch my drama videos from that time frame because there was a lot of shady shit with Maddie whenever she quit. And, again, they're not saying any of that happened. But, of course, they're not going to if Maddie's now back working with Jeffree. So anyway, here we go.
What's my signature?
You? On that note.
This is the new social media manager.
And then what made you want to come back?
I went to Houston and I was going through so much personally. I needed to like sit in a place that I didn't know anybody and like do the work and do the therapy and come back to earth a little bit. I mean, those 3.5 years with him were so intense 100% of the time. So I think I just needed a second. And I came back and we had talked throughout the time I was gone, like here and there, but ultimately, like, him and this brand is like an extension of me at this point because they really were my family. We spent every single day together, so it wasn't a hard decision when he suggested that I come back. It's totally different now. I mean, you see this life he's living out.
I'm curious, you know, whenever it cut to that scene of like all of them sitting around like business meetings at Jeffree Star Cosmetics, remember when they were doing the conspiracy palette and there was like all of the guy workers that were in the room and, you know, we got to know them all and they were making jokes with like Andrea and stuff. I wonder if all of them are still working at Jeffree Star Cosmetics because they're making less palettes now. Or maybe they are, like, you know, working at Jeffree Star Cosmetics as well, or skincare, sorry, and, you know, the umbrella of, like, Star Yak Me as well. I really want to know, does anyone have the answers? Maybe I need to take a little visit on LinkedIn. Okay, anyway.
It's so cool and just, I'm really happy for him. He really does seem like he is just at peace out here. It's really cool.
And I don't want to pretend like I don't know anything, right?
Right.
Obviously, I know, but
Yeah.
I think a lot of people think that you guys have...
So that's, like, weird he says that, and then it's like, there's no drama. Like, what do you mean by that, Shane? You know a lot of stuff behind the scenes?
And it just, the timing happened to not be the best timing. I felt bad leaving in the middle of it, but I also, like, I couldn't even look out for myself, so I had to, like, make a choice. But no, nothing ever happened with him directly. Like, I trust him with my life. I think he would say the same. Like, there was never that. It was some personal family shit, and I had to choose me and my family first. It was just like, I think the timing kind of threw people off a little bit, but also I didn't feel like I owed anybody an explanation, you know? So, it's crazy. I told Jeffree this when I was here last week.
No, also, listen, everything she's saying there, whether she's leaving out a lot of information or not, listen, I'm not gonna judge, I'm not gonna speak for her, and it was nice finally hearing Maddie's perspective. I'll say that.
I just started rewatching the whole series again from the beginning, and I was like, I wanted to feel something again. And I just look at like where we were.
She's very pretty.
The end of 2019, whenever that Mall of America was, and it was just like the most massive explosion. And then it just
it was crazy.
a hurricane after that, and that's when the whirlwind set in.
During scandals and controversies, because Because even when we were doing the series, you were always so cool and chill about stuff. Were you like internally being like, oh my god, the world's on fire?
No, I think because we had to keep the machine going, that was my distraction. Like I was just so focused on the every other moving part that was going on, making sure that we still got
Makes
through
sense.
to get
Makes
through,
sense.
even though, you know, the world is burning and he is, you know, there's so much going on to his name, and it was a lot, but I think I also did internalize a lot of it and not really realize it until I stepped away from it, and I was like, holy shit, like, people don't go through this. Like, this isn't normal. Like, that's crazy. And I was taking on, you know, when you spend so much time with somebody, you're living their emotions and you're living their traumas and all of those things too. So I hurt with him, but I had a job. I had a duty, like, keep it together. It wasn't easy at times.
Like all these people, that's what I'm talking about.
We made it through.
So how is it different now? Like since you...
The chaos back then was drama and fear and anxiety, and like it was just heightened. It was very extreme. Chaos now is just like normal life chaos. He's got a lot going on because he's got the cosmetics company, he's got the ad company, but there's not the craziness of it, like the sheer
She's probably
chaos
relieved.
of like
Physical training.
yes, and like yeah.
Oh my god, I
And
keep
it
forgetting
definitely-
Ryland's there.
there's a
He
lot.
like says
Burnout
everything
is a
every
real
couple
thing,
minutes.
And when you go
Hi, Ryland.
3.5 years non-stop, I mean it's inevitable, and that's just kind of like, and he understood that. We talked about it. We all experienced it, and you even pointed it out. Like he's never on his phone,
Yeah, it's weird.
and like he'll leave it inside and he'll go out for hours. Makes it challenging to sometimes get cosmetic stuff done, but we always get it done. Like we'll always get it done.
Alright, okay, listen, I'm not even gonna speculate on anything she said any further. I'm just gonna take whatever she said at face value, and I'm just happy to hear Maddie's point of view. I'm gonna be honest, it's been 2 years that I've been genuinely waiting to hear what she had to say, and even if I'm skeptical, I'm gonna take her word, because I've just been waiting to hear anything from her. So they all go to the restaurant that carries Jeffree's Star Yak Burgers, and Shane asks Maddie and Jeffree if they feel awkward about eating their yaks, and they say no. So when Shane's eating his burgers, he makes a lot of jokes like, what was the name of this one? Or Jeffree, did you like that one? Or Maddie, was that your favorite yak? Basically all this shit, right? And then the next morning is their final day in Wyoming, and Chris opens... Guys, a lot of you were really calling me out. A lot of you were really calling me out for like loving Chris. I just there's something endearing about him. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just that I'm attracted to him, possibly. But a lot of you were calling me out for it. A lot of you were like, Adam, no, we hate Chris. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, okay. So it's their final day in Wyoming. Chris opens the door to Shane, and Shane is head to toe dressed as a cowboy. Ryland says to Shane how it was wonderful, when Shane was getting 30 million views a video, but Shane was miserable when he was making those videos because there were so many pros and cons. So, they have to look at their life like that even when, you were at your peak, you were miserable then. So, Jesus, way to hit him when he's died, Ryland. So while they're driving to the Star Yak Ranch, we have a few minutes of very dramatic cutaway scenes, flashback scenes. This has basically been happening throughout the entire first 3 episodes that it's kind of lost all meaning at this stage, but whatever, fill up time, I guess. And then Jeffree now walks them through all, the yaks and walks them through the farm, and then they sit down for a final interview. Now, by the way, let me show you this. I purposely left it out, but there are just many moments in this episode that look like this. And it's just so jarring. I haven't even written a note about it. It's just so jarring. It's very jarring. Anyway, so I have the timestamp of the final interview that I kind of want to talk about. So 45 minutes to 48 minutes is what we are going to talk about. So we're going to skip right to that right now. So 45:10 until, here we go. So, final interview. So here you see Shane as head to toe.
Okay, listen, I'm gonna be honest. Okay. Yesterday I got a little nervous when you told me you were great.
Ironically, this is one of the best outfits I've seen Shane Dawson in, because I normally expect a holy t-shirt and trousers where his dirty ass underwear is seen in it. You know what I mean? Listen. Fair enough.
Because I don't don't know, I got sad because I was like, I don't want people to feel like they want.
I feel like I'm being overly nice in this video. Am I just like in a good mood or something today? I would say I'm in a good mood. I drank a Red Bull. I'm like, maybe I should film all my videos after a Red Bull. I seem a lot more positive in this video, right? Wow. Maybe I was just like, maybe I needed to get out of Brighton for a couple days. Maybe that was it. Maybe like being on my own in Brighton for like weeks on end brings out the worst in me. Possibly. Bring back bitchy Adam. He'll be back.
Oh, Jeffree's quitting YouTube. Like, the haters want it.
Yeah.
But then after watching you, like, actually getting excited about the TikTok thing and, like, being creative, and then just after seeing this, and last night, like, hanging out, going to dinner, and just seeing you in
Shane's
that
voice
element,
so deep.
I get it. Like, it's a different kind of fulfillment, I guess, that I don't understand for myself.
Yeah.
Because, like, YouTube has kind of always been my thing, but YouTube, it was like a 4-year thing for you, right?
Maybe more like 7, 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like I had never really used my channel. I started it a very long time ago, and then it went dormant, and I didn't have any followers really, just a couple.
He's been on the
weird
internet
MySpace
for so
videos,
fucking long.
Dear Diary, I wish there was more than 2 genders, because I'm getting really bored.
So when I started my brand, and I was like, whoa, what is this whole beauty trend on YouTube?
What's up, guys? Today we are here shooting my very first ever Jeffree Star Cosmetics
so
makeup
different.
ad.
And I just put my foot in the door, and the hammer, and the sledgehammer. Wrecking ball. No, but I entered a community, and I made it better, and
A couple that sets together stays together.
Sorry, didn't age well.
Hope you've
I'll
enjoyed
look
me
past
rating
it.
myself for everyone.
Alright, so then we get like a bunch of flashbacks from his YouTube, and there's like a lot of footage of like him and Nate, and then it ends on the conspiracy, blah, 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 right? Predictable.
I think that's why I get sad, is because, like, that was such an amazing time, and
yeah, and me taking a hiatus from YouTube doesn't change anything. I just need to do me right now, and I'm not feeling fulfilled.
So now it's hiatus.
On, that space anymore.
yeah, no, I understand. I mean, I'm sad, but I know that you're gonna be so happy because I've seen it, so.
Absolutely. Now when does our second palette launch?
Alright, okay, so there we have that. So back to my little silly notes here on my iPad. So they say how the palette was going to be called the Doomsday palette, which we touched on at the start of the video, and they started creating the palette before the launch of Conspiracy, which is so funny because Shane says, I knew that Conspiracy was going to be a success, which isn't true, because in the Conspiracy series, he makes this big deal about, is anybody gonna buy it? Is anybody gonna... Oh, the bitch is coming out now. Is anybody gonna buy it? Like, nobody's gonna buy it. Nobody cares about us. But he says in this that they knew that the palette was gonna be successful because of the series and stuff like that. So they've literally just called themselves out. I don't think they give a shit at this stage or whatever. So they start creating this palette before the launch of Conspiracy. So it being called Doomsday, and the design of the palette was literally like them in like, quarantine masks and wearing gloves and just basically like distant from the world and the world being sick and everyone being, dying. And they basically said that all of that was planned like a year before that actually ended up happening. And they both feel that they weirdly manifested it, by talking about Doomsday in terms of their career, but also just the way the entire palette was going to be about, basically a pandemic. And they're glad that they didn't release it. But then it cuts to showing that Jeffree actually repurposed all of the shades in other palettes that he's launched since that, which is smart. And I'm going to be honest, it was quite sad watching it, because it was like I look at Shane and Jeffree in the exact same way, and it was like Jeffree basically was just like to Shane and put all of the shades in like new palettes. So that was why I'm relating this to like nice people. If this was to like happen with nice people, I really don't feel much sympathy these days towards Shane and Jeffree, but it was really like, it was weirdly like sad that like watching these shades be like repurposed in these new palettes and stuff like that. And yeah, like the Blood Money palette, the Bloodlust palette, I don't even know if that's the name of it, blah 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 blah, all these different ones had the shades of the original Shane 2 Doomsday palette, and nobody knew. Alright, So the series ends with a few flashbacks and then the three of them flying back. But I'm going to show you now them showing the palette. So we are going to get to this and then we are going to talk. So we are finally being shown the palette within the last 10 minutes of the third fucking episode. Wasting my time. This could have been one video.
Oh my god, yes.
There we
I can't
go.
believe you have the
So here's the Doomsday palette.
Wyoming. We're surrounded by yaks and
I look at it all the
and this is
time.
crazy.
It's not sad. I look at it all the time. Oh my god, I have it wrapped in my phone.
Yes! She's not breaking this thing.
Okay.
Oh my god, I haven't seen this in a few years now.
Yeah, 2020.
Oh my god.
So 2020, they finished
Here.
this.
Oh,
They
our
made this
lives
one
are-
weirdly quickly.
No, our lives are great. Oh my god, this is like the reveal. I've been waiting 2 years for this, except that it's not coming up. Okay, here's the Doomsday palette.
Okay, let's see it. Wow.
Alright, so here we have the palette. Now, I'm going to screenshot this, and we are going to talk about this very briefly. I'm someone who knows very little about makeup. I have, like, one Morphe palette. Okay. So, first of all, I actually am enjoying the fact that it's 3 rows with this many shades. I haven't seen many things like that. It's normally, like, all down the ways. Alright, okay, so these colors... I mean, this, to me, from someone who knows Jeffree's palettes, there's only so much that he can continue to, like, do and make it new. This is just basically the Jawbreaker palette. With all these really vibrant colors, this is the Jawbreaker palette with, like, a couple shades from the Orgy palette. So, I just think that, like, none of this makes sense. There's no color story here. They're gonna talk about that there's a color story. There's really not. I mean, these colors ended up going in the Blood Money green palette. These ones ended up going in, like, the Pink Religion palette. And that's what this feels like. It feels like a bunch of shit thrown together. But hey. And, like, so you're looking at this, and this is supposed to be, like, end of the world. What's giving end of the world about this? Like, it's actually giving, like Disneyland. Like, there's... End of the world is dark colors, greens, yellows, maybe, like, focusing on, like, dark purples. I don't know. I'm not creating makeup, but y'all are. And it's like, this is, like, the end of the world-esque. Alright. I mean, maybe this. But, like, that's a shitty palette. Like, if this was, like, a mini... I don't know. Anyway, let's hear them talk about it, I guess.
Oh my god. Wow.
Doomsday.
This isn't 2020.
It looks so pretty in this lighting.
Yeah, the fact that we were gonna do 3 long rows was incredible.
I do like the 3 long
so many
rows.
amazing metallic
I don't like the colors.
shifts.
Yeah, this one.
Ugh.
This was the one that we made in the lab together.
Yes.
Wow. That was
Ooh,
so
actually, let me tweet this out. You'll see me tweeting. I'm gonna tweet out... Shane Dawson and Jeffree Star's unreleased second palette This is literally how I tweet. I'm like spelling it all out. Doomsday. Okay. And then I'm gonna put the picture and I'm gonna be like, what do we think? What do we think? Question mark. Love you. Like, please respond to me so my tweet doesn't get 1 like. Alright, let me tweet this and maybe we'll read a few responses to this in my next video. Shane Dawson and Jeffree Star's unreleased second palette Doomsday. What do we think? Tweeted. Please respond, muckers. Please. Please. Alright, anyway, back to this.
This one.
Stunning. Wow. The shift. Yeah. Oh, wow.
Oh,
Okay, we're there. Yes.
Love that woman.
oh
Love that
my
woman.
God, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Oh yeah, that's gonna look so.
Wow. I want to slap that on my lid right now. Yeah, it's so avant-garde, yet wearable. It's very high fashion. It's nuts.
Okay.
Very high
Here's
fashion.
our first. If I just posted this on
There's the first rendering.
Wait, this is the first pass, and I feel like, oh my god, wait, even just going over it with my phone, it's fucking good.
It's really good. And
You know what's so funny? Like, I didn't even plan for this to be like a sad thing. I was just more excited to finally show it, but it is like you leaving YouTube. Us finally saying goodbye to this. Because I think in the back of my head I did have that little thing of like, well, maybe one day, like, we could put this out, or maybe one day. Now we literally can't. You've used some of the shades, but also, like, we just revealed it. So, like, you can't do that. but yeah, saying goodbye to... Should we bury it?
oh my god.
Oh my god, I'm gonna start crying. Should we, or wait, is that bad for the planet?
I mean, yeah, I would bury it on camera, and then as soon as you cut and I'd exhume that bitch and put her in a hefty bag.
Okay, we won't bury
No,
it.
I think it needs to go in the makeup vault. And it's just something to admire, and it would have been insane.
I am really excited about it. Like, I feel like the more I...
What's interesting is they had such a career high from... By the way, I'm actually going to read out a couple of the responses in like 2 minutes from my tweet, so if people were quick, then they'll get shouted out. And leave your responses in the comments below. And also on the Facebook group, I'm going to do a post on there right after this being like, what's your opinion on the final episode? Go comment on it, request to join, and you'll be read out in my next video. My thing is, like, this was going to be coming out in 2020. I wonder if they had released this palette, would they have got cancelled in 2020? Or would they have got cancelled in 2021? Because when Conspiracy Palette came out, the hype for the makeup almost overshadowed people calling them out. And I feel that, would that have happened with a second palette, or would people have been over it? Let me know your opinion. There's a lot of questions here. Anyway, let's finish this.
This palette, the more, like, confident I am about the actual color story.
Yeah, but the
Everything,
color
I guess,
story?
happens
What
for a
color
reason.
story?
I've made peace with it. But it is looking back like, wow, it was sad. It took me months to get over it.
I mean, I am actually happy we didn't put out this palette for a lot of reasons, I think.
I'm not. Fucking sickening. It could have been, and not even could have been. We already know it would have been such a huge seller. The whole theme, everything was just so different. It was so like, it was like almost like anti-beauty in such a cool way.
So yeah, these were gonna be the like promotional photos. So like very end of the world, which, I mean, not great whenever the like pandemic was like approaching.
But it all looked fucking pretty. Ugh.
Well, here's why I'm happy about it. I think putting out something called Doomsday is a level of darkness and toxicity that I actually can't handle, and I feel like our lives have gotten so much better.
Yeah.
Like, because the whole idea was going to be end of the world, darkness, doomsday, like, you know, and now it's like that's so not where I am and not where you are, so I'm happy that we didn't do it. And then on top of that, like, it is nice to know that we still have a friendship outside of, you know, like, yeah, it's fun to make
You have
stuff
so many
together.
things to relate
And,
about.
you
Don't
know,
you
make a
both?
palette, do this and do that, but like even without the palette, like I feel even closer to you now than I did then. So it's like,
yeah, absolutely.
it didn't.
Where's
it didn't- I think
Ryland?
I was just trying to continue on.
Where'd he go?
Yeah.
Because it was the best time.
Wait, that's like so interesting to think about. Anytime they're filming, like Ryland is just like right behind Chris. It's like the little PR mom, Kris Jenner. You're doing amazing. Cry on camera again. Get the views.
Keep going, keep going. Let's do
I
another.
want a
palette.
new
Let's do
Gucci
this, let's do
purse.
that. And now 2 years later, like, I don't know. It's sad. Oh my god. Okay.
Alright, okay, so there's that. Now, we're gonna end off this video by, if people have responded to the tweet. My camera literally just died for like 20 minutes because it said that it was too hot. It's never happened before, so I hope I still have all that footage. But anyway, my tweet has a lot of responses. The muckers have showed out tonight. I appreciate it. So I can actually read out a lot of responses. So I tweeted out, like I said, and I also tweeted out on top of that. I was like, Shane says that I feel so confident about the color story, and I was like, the jokes write themselves. Now, I am literally just going to go through here. Whenever ones are at the top, I'm going to read them out. Normally, I will, you know, just like, choose one there, choose one here. I'm just going to read from top to the bottom until I get a little bit of the consensus of what people are thinking. It's like it couldn't, it's like they couldn't decide what it was going to be. That's not a unique thing to be said at all. Someone else said it looks dull. Someone said, I don't like the color scheme. It's all over the place. Someone said the pastels make me want to puke. People are loving it so far. Someone said clapped. Someone said it's very mid. Someone said it literally looks like the same color palette he's already made. Everyone's saying conspiracy is better. People are saying that the teal is really ugly in contrast with everything else. A lot of people are just saying that they don't enjoy it. Someone said it's even worse than the Conspiracy palette. It's literally, why is it literally the most uncommon shades put in a palette? I hated how Conspiracy came out with a bunch of random stuff, and this is very unwearable eyeshadow. A lot of people are saying that it looks it could have been a better color story. It needed more work. Someone said it looks like the tiny soap colors that you get in hotels, like really ugly. People are just saying it looks terrible. There's no color really popping. Like in the first palette, there was a pink and yellow that caught your attention. This doesn't have anything like that. Someone said, looks like shit, no cohesive theme. Jesus. Design is terrible, shades are meh, the quality looks bad. It's a downgrade from the first one. Don't get me wrong, this is objective standpoint. Someone said looks like chalk. Someone said it's really not appealing to the eyes. Someone said it doesn't make sense. Someone said it looks like that you would buy it on Poundland. So basically you would buy it for very cheap. Alright, okay. I am going to... Someone said, design is very bad. Okay, there we go. So we kind of have like an overall opinion very quickly from the first 10 minutes of my tweet. Let me know down below your opinion of it, and also join the Facebook group. Let me know your opinion in depth over there. Also, let me know your opinion in depth about the series episode and basically the Doomsday palette down in the comments below. I love you. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Until next time, when they inevitably make another series again in a couple of years down the line, or maybe a couple of weeks, or months, or days. I love you. Bye.